Imagine a man of incredible ambition, unmatched courage, and a mind sharper than the finest sword. His name echoes through history, a name synonymous with power and tragedy, Julius Caesar. He wasn't born with a crown on his head, he wasn't destined for greatness from birth. But through sheer will and cunning, he climbed the ladder of Roman society, leaving his mark on the ancient world. This is the story of his rise, his triumphs, and his dramatic fall. Caesar wasn't just a conqueror, he was a reformer, a visionary who dared to dream of a different Rome. He built roads, temples, and forums, transforming Rome from a city of brick into a city of marble. He changed the calendar, a system we still use today, but his ambition, the same fire that fueled his rise, also sowed the seeds of his destruction. This is a story filled with thrilling battles, political intrigue, and shocking betrayals. It's a story that reminds us that even the most powerful men and women are not invincible, and that the choices we make can have consequences that ripple through time. Caesar wasn't born into absolute power, he was born into a patrician family, the Julii, an ancient lineage stretching back to the very founding of Rome. But the Julii, though noble, weren't swimming in wealth and influence. They were overshadowed by other powerful families. It was a tough start for young Caesar, but even as a boy he possessed an aura of authority, a spark of something extraordinary. He excelled in his studies, mastering rhetoric and oratory, skills that would later serve him well in the Roman political arena. Tragedy struck when Caesar was just a teenager. His father died suddenly. This thrust him into the role of head of the family, a heavy burden for one so young. But Caesar shouldered the responsibility, showing early signs of the resilience and determination that would define his life. His path crossed with Sulla, a ruthless Roman general who seized control of Rome in a bloody civil war. Sulla, suspicious of Caesar's family connections, ordered him to divorce his wife, Cornelia. Caesar refused, a daring act of defiance against a dictator. Forced to flee, he lived a life on the run, dodging Sulla's assassins. This period of exile hardened Caesar, honed his instincts for survival. He learned the art of war, serving with distinction in the Roman army. He returned to Rome after Sulla's death, not as a fugitive, but as a decorated soldier ready to claim his place in the Roman world. His journey to greatness was just beginning. Caesar's name echoed with the clang of swords and the roar of battle. He was a soldier's soldier, fearless in the face of danger, a brilliant tactician who could outmaneuver and outwit his opponents. From the sun-baked fields of Gaul to the shores of Britain, Caesar's military campaigns were legendary, expanding Roman power and etching his name in the annals of military history. His conquest of Gaul, a vast territory that encompasses modern-day France, was a testament to his military genius. For almost a decade, Caesar waged war against fierce Gallic tribes, overcoming formidable odds and treacherous terrain. He commanded his legions with skill and audacity, winning victory after victory. One of his most famous victories came at the Battle of Alesia. Surrounded by a massive Gallic army, Caesar's legions seemed doomed. But Caesar, displaying his characteristic ingenuity, ordered the construction of a double fortification, one to keep the Gauls out and another to keep a relief army from breaking in. It was a gamble, a daring move that paid off handsomely. The Gauls were crushed, and their legendary leader, Vercingetorix, was captured, paraded through the streets of Rome as a symbol of Caesar's triumph. Caesar's military exploits weren't confined to mainland Europe. He led 2 expeditions to Britain, a land shrouded in mystery for the Romans. Though he didn't fully conquer Britain, his campaign sent a powerful message. Rome's reach was vast and its ambition knew no bounds. Caesar's victories brought him immense wealth, vast territories under Roman control, and most importantly, the love and adoration of his soldiers who would follow him to the ends of the earth. Caesar wasn't just a conqueror, he was a builder, a reformer who envisioned a grander, more prosperous Rome. Upon his return from Gaul, he didn't rest on his laurels. He saw a Rome plagued by poverty, unemployment, and corruption. He saw a system in desperate need of change, and he, Julius Caesar, would be the architect of that change. He implemented land reforms, redistributing land to the poor and establishing colonies for veterans, providing them with land and a fresh start. He tackled unemployment head-on, launching ambitious public works projects that created jobs and improved infrastructure. Rome witnessed the construction of new temples, forums, and aqueducts, transforming the cityscape and improving the lives of its citizens. Caesar understood the power of spectacle and used it to his advantage. He organized lavish games and festivals, providing entertainment for the masses and solidifying his popularity. But his reforms weren't just about bread and circuses. He reformed the calendar, introducing the Julian calendar, which with a few minor modifications is still used today. He granted citizenship to conquered peoples, expanding the reach of Roman law and culture. Caesar's reforms weren't universally welcomed. The old guard, the wealthy and powerful senators who benefited from the status quo, saw him as a threat, a populist who was undermining their authority. They whispered in the shadows, plotting against the man who dared to challenge their power. Caesar's reforms, though well-intentioned, ignited a firestorm of resentment that would have disastrous consequences. In the snake pit of Roman politics, alliances were fluid, loyalties were fickle, and even the most trusted friends could become enemies. Caesar, despite his charisma and political acumen, was not immune to the treacherous currents of Roman power struggles. He had loyal friends, men who would stand by him through thick and thin, but he also made bitter enemies, men who would stop at nothing to see him fall. One of Caesar's most enduring friendships was with Marcus Junius Brutus, a young nobleman whose ancestor had helped to found the Roman Republic. Caesar held Brutus in high regard, treating him like a son. But Brutus, a staunch idealist, believed in the principles of the Republic, a system that Caesar, in his pursuit of power, seemed to disregard. Another pivotal figure in Caesar's life was Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, known as Pompey the Great. Initially, they were allies, forming the first triumvirate with Marcus Licinius Crassus, a powerful Roman general. This alliance, cemented by political expediency and marriage alliances, brought stability to a tumultuous Rome. However, the triumvirate was an inherently unstable arrangement. Crassus's death in battle against the Parthians shattered the fragile balance of power. Caesar and Pompey, once allies, now rivals, found themselves on opposing sides of a civil war that would decide the fate of Rome. The war was a clash of titans, a brother against brother conflict that tore the Republic apart. Caesar emerged victorious, defeating Pompey's forces and solidifying his control over Rome. But victory came at a cost. The Republic, already weakened by years of internal strife, was on the brink of collapse.